Thanks to God, thanks to God Kumar Prabhu for starting this sangha and inspiring all of us to speak actually. And uh, before I start, I want to say that how God Kumar Prabhu inspires all of us to speak. And some time back, I was reading this book, Teachings of Queen Kunti, and I thought whenever my turn comes next, I'm going to speak on Teachings of Queen Kunti. But and somehow, Prabhuji started a series on Teachings of Queen Kunti, so that was a very nice coincidence or transcendental coincidence. So thank you. And yes, these like this platform is a great opportunity. Whenever like we have this opportunity to speak, it is also a great opportunity for me personally to meditate on what we are going to speak. So thank you, Prabhuji, for that. And I'll start with prayers. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरोन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान् पितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगे राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Let me share my screen. Can you all see my screen? Can you all see my screen? Yeah. And is my audio clear or is it like sounding low or something?
It's clear, Prabhu.
Okay. Nice. So last time Jitendra Prabhu gave the class on verse number 32, 1.8.32 and 33, and he very nicely uh, summarized like quite many points about why where Queen Kunti gives the reason why the Lord appears, and also how the Lord takes birth, and how he appears, and then here it's mentioned he takes birth. Also although he's eternally existing. So Prabhuji gave a very nice class about that. In today's two verses, which we'll cover, verse number 34 and 35, Queen Kunti further elaborates more reasons of why the Lord appears. So we'll look at that. So let's first look at verse 1.8.34. Srimad Bhagavatam. So the verse is Bharavatar Nayane Bhuvo Nava Ivo Dhayo Sindhate Bhuri Bharena Jato Hi Atma Bhuvarita. Others say that the world being overburdened, just like a boat at sea, is much aggrieved, and that Brahma, who is your son, prayed for you, and so you have appeared to diminish the trouble. So here Brahma is addressed as Atmabhu, which means self-manifested. So Brahma is the first living entity who is created in this universe, and he is not born by a mother and father. He appears directly from Lord Vishnu. So the first expansion, the Mahavishnu, which is the expansion of Krishna in this material world, when he breathes, there are millions of universes which comes out from his pores, and when he inhales, all of those universes again go inside. So when he exhales, when the universes are created, then the potency of Krishna which enters into each universe as Garbhodakshai Vishnu. And from this form of the Lord, which enters into every universe, there emerges a lotus from his navel. And from that lotus, Lord Brahma is born. And he is born not like with a mother and father. So the Lord can create without the need to having without the have intercourse with anybody. So that is the potency of the Lord. And Lord Brahma is the first living being who is created, Atmabhu, which is like self-manifested. And when he is born, so he doesn't know what to do. He is confused. So he performs tapasya. And the spiritual knowledge is revealed to Lord Brahma from within the heart. So Krishna reveals the spiritual knowledge to Brahma from within his heart. And that's how the spiritual knowledge is even accessible to each and every one of us, because Krishna is present within each and every one of our heart. And the way to receive that knowledge is we need to be qualified to receive that knowledge. And Krishna helps us both from within and without. From without, he helps by in the form of the spiritual master, and from within he is present as Paramatma, always guiding us. As soon as a living entity is interested in receiving spiritual knowledge, the Paramatma from within guides him towards a spiritual master, and then his spiritual life begins. So, and another thing that is mentioned here is that the world is overburdened. So matter is very heavy. The earth actually is very heavy, but it is floating in an ocean. How is that possible? Such a heavy thing is floating. It is because of the presence of the Lord by that spiritual potency, because of which such a heavy object is able to float in the universe. And that is the nature of the spirit. It is very light. It can travel anywhere throughout the universe. So that is our original nature, that we are very light and we can travel to the spirit in the spiritual world. But currently we are covered by the material energy, because of which that is we are in ignorance. We have forgotten our spiritual identity, because of which we are being limited. And once that ignorance is destroyed, our true spiritual identity is revealed, then we become very light and the spirit can travel to the spiritual world. So when how does the earth becomes overburden is because of the presence of the demoniac forces. So the good and bad, the demoniac forces and the divine, that is the demigods, both of these forces are always there. But when the demoniac forces increases, at that time the world becomes overburdened. Just like in a state when there is lawlessness, like when the rate of crime increases, then some action must be taken. So similarly, At that time, when Kamsa and many other demoniac kings were present, the demoniac power overpowered the demigods, and the world was very overburdened. And in such a situation, being very overburdened, she went to Lord Brahma for help, who in turn went to the Shwetadeep to pray to Lord Vishnu for help, and there it was revealed that Lord Krishna will appear soon as the son of Devaki and Vasudev. So this is the reason which Queen Kunti is saying here, that you appear to reduce the burden of the earth, just like a boat is very much aggrieved at the sea. In a similar way, to reduce the burden of the earth, you appeared. And one very interesting thing which is mentioned here is that in throughout the scriptures is the planets are described as personalities. So how is the world being overburdened? Like, we should try to understand it, how in our own life we are so much overburdened, and how do we feel when we are being, say, like by some demoniac force, or something is troubling us, we are not able to live to our full extent. So similarly, the earth is a personality, and when it is being exploited, it feels over. She feels very overburdened. So uh, just like we should try to identify the earth as a personality, as a mother, and when she feels overburdened, she goes to help. Like, she goes to Lord Brahma to seek help, and then the Lord appeared. So another thing which is very beautiful is that mentioned here is that that Lord Brahma prays to Lord Vishnu. So similarly, in our own life, when we are in trouble, we can all reflect, like, what are the times in our own life when we were in trouble and we seek the help of the Lord, and what are some incidences in our scriptures which are mentioned when personalities who are in trouble and they seek the shelter of the Lord. Would any of you like to share, if you're able to remember any such instances?
I mean, when devotees were in trouble and they sought the shelter of Lord.
Yes.
So many.
When the Vrajvasis were in trouble in the forest fire and
Yes.
they took shelter of Krishna.
Yeah, all the Gopas, they took shelter of Krishna. Anyone
When the
else?
so the torment caused by Ravana and Hiranyakashipu's brother Hiranyagarbha, when they were torturing the devotees and the
Yes.
demigods, they took shelter, and
Yes.
that's why Krishna came as Avaraha and Lord Rama.
Yes. That's very nice. Thank you, Lekha Mataji.
One more I can think of, when the world was overburdened with all these bad influences of materialism, Advaitacharya prayed. Advaitacharya prayed that in such a situation, only you, O Lord, can come and deliver us. So that's how Lord Chaitanya appeared.
Yeah. So we see a very common theme. I was reflecting, like, every time the Lord appears, like, someone prays for the Lord to come, although he's like free to appear out of his own will. But we see like this common theme, how the devotees, they pray to the Lord, and they seek shelter. And then even in our own lives, I think uh, we it's very good thing that when we are in, always we should take shelter to remember the Lord. But in when we are in trouble, we take the shelter of the Lord more desperately. So so that's something. And another instance which I can remember is after the Govardhan Puja, when it was raining very heavily in Vrindavan, everyone took shelter of Lord Krishna. So that's another instance which I was remembering. And when we take shelter of Lord Krishna, then he appears and then he reduces the burden, just like he reduced the burden of the earth in that way. So yeah, having said that, we move to the next verse. Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karmabhi Shavana smarana arhani karishyan iti kechana. And yet others say that you appeared for the sake of rejuvenating the devotional service of hearing, remembering, worshipping, and so on, in order that the conditioned soul suffering from material pangs might take advantage and gain liberation. So this is the ultimate reason which Queen Kunti is giving, that why the Lord appears. And so what she's saying is Bhavesmin Klishyamananam, that in this material world, for those who are suffering, you come to deliver them. So how are the people, how is everyone in this material world suffering? So Bhavesmin Klishyamananam avidya, because of ignorance. And what is this ignorance? Our true nature, which our true nature is to serve. And being conditioned, we mistake our true nature, which is to serve the Lord, we misuse it to serve the senses. And in doing so, because of ignorance, we are never satisfied. So that is avidya. When we mistake our true nature to serve the Lord, instead of serving the Lord, we serve our senses. That is avidya. And then what is the another reason for suffering, which Queen Kunti says? Kama, which is lust, the desire to enjoy the material uh, senses, material things, kama, and karma be. Because of that fruitive work, we are bound to take birth again and again. So she gives three reasons for suffering of this suffering of the living entities. Bhavesmin klishyamananam avidya kama karma be. And to deliver the living entities out of these suffering conditions, the Lord comes and he establishes the process of devotional service. And what is that? Shravana, the process of hearing, Smarana, of remembering the Lord, of Arhani, of worshipping the Lord. So these three, like we know, there are the 9 processes of devotional service, out of which Queen Kunti is mentioning some of the processes of Shravana, Smarana, and worshipping the Lord. So being conditioned and suffering in this world, we should try to take shelter of these processes and of devotional service and come out of this cycle of birth and death, and to our full awakening of our true nature of serving the Supreme Lord. And the Lord comes himself to establish the religion. So religion is established by Lord, and not anyone can manufacture religion out of his own. And this is the special feature of the Lord, that out of his supreme mercy, even though the souls have turned away from him, but the Lord never turns away from any of his children, and he always comes for them to claim them back. And whoever helps the Lord in doing this, in preaching and bringing the souls back to him, the Lord is very much pleased and he bestows his special favor upon them. So this act of preaching, which is it's not about making devotees or remembering giving wonderful classes, but it's about giving pleasure to Krishna. Because when we spread this knowledge of Krishna consciousness to other souls, it gives it pleases Krishna very much. Krishna is very much pleased by it when he sees that somebody is trying to bring back all of these, all of my children back to me. So this act of preaching is the act of giving pleasure to Krishna, not about the numbers or how many, people we are bringing. So that is it. And there is a very beautiful story about the prodigal son, which is mentioned in the Bible, and I'd like to share a video about that.
You.
What do you think he means?
Can you guys hear the video?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
A man had two sons. The younger son told his father,
"Father, I want my share of your estate now, before you die."
So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, this younger son packed all his belongings and moved to a distant land. And there he wasted all his money in wild living. About the time his money ran out, a great famine swept over the land and he began to starve. He persuaded a local farmer to hire him, and the man sent him into his fields to feed the pigs. The young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. No one gave him anything. When he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, "At home, even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and here I am dying of hunger." He wasted everything his father gave him.
Oh no! He did. What are you doing? Betty would never take that money.
Let me finish the story for you. While he had the job of feeding the pigs, the young man became so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs looked good to him. But no one gave him anything. Finally, he came to his senses and said,
"My father's workers have plenty to eat, and here I am starving to death." Go to my father and say to him, "Father, I have sinned against God in heaven and against you. I am no longer good enough to be called your son. Treat me like one of your workers.
But when he was still a long way off, his father saw him and felt sorry for him. He ran to his son. And he hugged and kissed him.
Hurry and bring the best clothes and put them on him. Give him a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet. Get the best calf and prepare it so we can eat and celebrate. This son of mine was dead, but has now come back to life. He was lost and has now been found.
And they began to celebrate. The older son had been out in the field, but when he came near the house, he heard the music and dancing.
So this is the story of the prodigal son, which comes in the Bible. Anyone would like to share how you feel after seeing this?
Yeah, very instructive story, Prabhuji. Shows our own situation as well, because we have turned away from God. In fact, we have not only turned away from God, we are turning away from God kind of every moment. At least I am. So it's not like it's a one-time thing that happened sometime or something like that. It's happening every moment, because every moment we have a choice to whether to be under Krishna or be under Maya that way. So yeah, and it's very instructive. We also should turn towards our Father, and that's how we can not for the wealth though, not for our enjoyment. So just like he, in the mood of humility, he went back to his father, and in a mood that he has sinned, and he went to beg forgiveness. So similarly, we should also have a humble attitude, not that I want to enjoy with Krishna, or I want to enjoy the perks that Krishna has because of being God. That's the reason I will serve God, but with a humble attitude of serving him that way. Just some thoughts, bro.
I'll share a quick thought, Prabhu. We are also, I agree with Jitendra Prabhu. We are also wasting the wealth that we have taken from our Father, and we are not putting it to good use. The skills that we have, their hands and legs. At least I don't put them to good use every day. I wish I could put them to good use and not waste them. So that was the other realization I had, Prabhu.
Yeah, as Prabhupada said, like we can use this microphone, we can use everything in Krishna's service, because ultimately everything is Krishna's energy. So yes, thank you, Krishna Prabhu. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna. I would say that my biggest takeaway is that even though we've turned away from God, the moment that we want to turn back, go back to him, he'll very easily take us back. Nothing of worrying about what, us turning away, taking whatever. He loves us so much that he's willing to take us back.
Yes, exactly. And that is what Queen Kunti is also saying in this verse, that he comes to free the suffering souls and claim them back. Yes. Thank you, Athena Mataji.
I just want to add one point, Prabhu. I mean, the last scene really touched my heart. It made me remember Gopakumar when he goes back to the spiritual world. Krishna actually tells him that just like how you are eager to come, I was 1,000 times more eager to receive you. And Gopakumar thought that he'll go to the spiritual world and slowly see Krishna from a distance and things like that. But Krishna was actually waiting for him. And as soon as Gopakumar enters, Krishna hugs him and cries and showers him with his tears, saying that how much I missed you. I was waiting for you to come back. And that actually amazes Gopakumar at that point. So just wanted to share that. Thank you.
The Lord is waiting for each and every one of us to just turn back to Him. And anyone who helps the Lord to do that, to bring any soul to Him, He's very much pleased by that. And Lord comes Himself as Krishna. He gives us the Bhagavad Gita. And as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, He comes and shows us how to live by that. And in our own lives, how we turn to Lord is by the mercy of a devotee. We can all reflect what was the first time, who was the first devotee we met, what was the first book we came in contact with. It is just by the mercy of some devotee in our life that we have turned to God, that we received His mercy. So coming in touch with a devotee is like seeing the sun rays before the sunrise. And it's like as soon as we see the sun rays, we know that the sun is very soon going to rise. So the coming in touch with devotees is like seeing the sun rays at dawn, knowing that very soon the sun of devotional service is going to rise and shine fully in our lives. And yeah, and just like one more thing I wanted to say is how the Lord appears in our life, like what are the different degrees how He appears. So the first level at which the Lord appears is in the dream. When we are sleeping, the Lord appears in our dream. And the second stage of the appearance of the Lord is in our meditation. When we are meditating, He appears in our meditation. Just like Narad Muni, he saw the Lord in his meditation. And then the third stage how of the manifestation of the Lord is in front of our eyes. So Dhruv Maharaj, after meditation, he saw Lord, he saw Lord Narayan in front of him. But that also is temporary. Like the Lord comes in front of us for some time, but then He again disappears. So uh, all of these manifestations of the Lord in the dream, in the meditation, in personally in front of the devotee, all of these are temporary. And the last stage of the appearance of the Lord is in the consciousness, that everything we see in connection with Krishna. We see anything we see, that our consciousness is fully surcharged with Krishna. Everywhere we see that thing in relationship with Krishna. That is the last stage of appearance, of the highest stage of how the Lord appears. Like everyone in Vrindavan is always thinking, like, how is Krishna doing? Whatever they are doing, they're always thinking of Krishna, and that is the highest stage of the appearance of Lord. Is in the is in our consciousness. And yeah, with that I would like to end. And the ultimate reason which Queen Kunti mentions why the Lord appears is to come and liberate the suffering souls from their sufferings, from avidya, karma, and karma being the work that we are doing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Krishna.
Thank you so much, Karan Prabhu. Wonderful points that you shared. Very deep class, actually. Very well spoken, and thank you. I just wanted to share one point. You started off talking about the power of prayers. So I also want to mention that we are all devotees here because somebody prayed for us. Somebody prayed for us that we become a devotee. Just like how we pray that the Lord appears, we have to pray that a person becomes a devotee. And when we do that, whatever level we are at, if we start praying that this person becomes a devotee, then the Lord reciprocates and makes that person a devotee. It's not that we have to be very exalted devotees to pray like that, but even at our level, if we pray, then that person will become a devotee eventually. Just wanted to share that. And yeah, anyone else? Any other thoughts?
One point that I loved is Prabhuji, like you mentioned about preaching is not about the numbers. Preaching is not about, converting or, of course it's making devotees, but then it's not primarily that. Primarily it's giving pleasure to Krishna. So preaching is about giving pleasure to Krishna, and in whatever way we can give pleasure to Krishna, that is actually preaching. Like by doing DT worship is also preaching, because by doing the DT worship, people come and they see see Krishna's form, and that way they are attracted. So that way preaching is for the pleasure of Krishna. And Krishna also mentions in the Bhagavad Gita that those who preach my glories are very dear to me. So that is a very nice point you mentioned. And the overall class was very nice, interactive. You also had a video, which was really nice. So thank you very much, Prabhu.
Athena Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Karan Babu. Such a wonderful class. I always enjoy it when you speak. I felt like you're even the beginning describing how the Brahma came about. All of that was just said so perfectly. And I, of course, enjoyed the video. I'll have to go check it out, the full story. I did actually have a question, and I'm curious what the reference is to that the Lord appears first in our dreams, then in our meditation, then in front of us. And then the highs you said was seeing God everywhere and connecting our consciousness to Him. And so that, and I guess in my mind, that's interesting because in one sense, seeing the Lord everywhere sometimes could be related to Paramatma realization, because you see the Lord in the heart. But of course, seeing Krishna face to face, I mean, that is like you realize your Swarup. So yogis could see Paramatma in the heart, and therefore also see Vishnu, the Lord, and all living entities, and kind of like everywhere. So I would have thought that's in one sense related to a lower level of realization than seeing Krishna face to face. And then similarly, those who are extremely spiritually elevated, I feel, just I would say like devotees that we've met, even say spiritual masters, they can, they live for Krishna, so they see Krishna everywhere. They tie everything that happens in our life to Krishna. So it seems like that's the fourth stage, but I'm not sure, but maybe they haven't necessarily seen Krishna face to face or realized their Swarup. So I was just curious on that last point, because that seems like it might come before. It's a lower level realization than seeing Krishna face to face. Thank you so much.
Yes, Mataji, I'll share some thoughts and anyone else can also add. So it's not like everything will happen to somebody like, first Krishna will appear in the dream and then in the meditation, then he will really come in front of us and then in our consciousness. It's not like that. And ultimately, like as you mentioned, like the seeing everything in relationship to Krishna, like always being conscious of Krishna, that is the highest level of realization. That is what I meant. And that does not mean like somebody who has seen uh, Krishna in like face to face is like less realized or something like that. But the highest level, like how Krishna appears, is to be conscious of him in everything and like all the time, 24 hours a day. That is what I meant, Taji. Does it?
You're muted, Athena, if you're speaking.
Oh, I apologize. Thank you. That's interesting. I guess thank you for the explanation. That is what I heard. I guess in my mind, when one is just fully absorbed, you see even spiritual, I mean, even think gurus, they're so absorbed and not questioning their purity, but it's very special to be able to, when you see Krishna face to face, in one sense, that's meaning you've made it back to the spiritual world, you're seen your Swarup. So I guess it's more of a comment that, and I'm not saying even in my life, but just being so ecstatic and bhakti and absorbing devotion, and I'm no one and not even close. So it seems like to actually be able to see Krishna face to face it means that you've made it to the spiritual world, you've made it back, you've perfected your life, and in order to do that, you've already see Krishna in everything and connect your whole consciousness to him. So I understand it might not be a whole like step by step and it could happen in flows, but I guess I'm sharing that seeing Krishna, your whole consciousness be absorbed in Krishna is almost like a prerequisite to be able to see Krishna face to face, and like truly see him. I understand 5,000 years ago he was on this earth, but actually so few people actually could see him actually as the Supreme Lord. But now we're talking about when we go back, if you see Krishna face to face, that means you're in the spiritual world. So in my mind, that's, in one sense, that's the highest. But just to go back, I'd love to know where, what's, I guess, the Shastric reference for that he shows up in your dream first, then the meditation and so on. Because I haven't heard that before, and I'm just curious. Thank you.
I don't have a Shastric reference, but I heard it from one devotee in one of the Japa talks, one of the senior devotees in Radha Gopinath temple. So that's where I heard it. I don't have a Shastric reference for this, Mataji.
No problem. Thank you so much. Really wonderful class. Hare Krishna.
I have also heard this. I remember hearing this when I was in voice, that this is something similar. But yeah, one thing that I would like to add is there is absence of Krishna and then there is separation from Krishna. So when I haven't yet seen Krishna, it's like absence. And then when I see Krishna and then Krishna goes away, that is separation. Now, in absence and in separation, you can say that you see Krishna everywhere, like in everything you see around, you connect to Krishna. So it's not that, I mean, what I want to say is seeing Krishna everywhere is something like it comes before seeing Krishna face to face, as well as it comes after seeing Krishna face to face. Because as Mataji mentioned, to see Krishna face to face, you need to be always conscious of him. Yes, when that consciousness comes to a very mature stage, you are actually able to see Krishna. Krishna blesses us with that, with his darshan. And then after Krishna blesses us with that darshan, even after that, we again see Krishna everywhere, because now we have gotten the darshan of Krishna. We are nourished by that darshan. So that again continues. And this also connects a little bit to the separation that the gopis had faced, right? And the separation, like the viraha bhav, that is the foremost, I mean, we could safely say that it's even the topmost teaching of Lord Chaitanya, love in separation. So love in separation actually will come after, we have perceived Krishna, we have seen Krishna, and then Krishna takes away that association, takes away that union. That is when love in separation comes. And in love in separation also, we see Krishna everywhere. I mean, that's what Like Lord Chaitanya himself, he saw Krishna everywhere. He was in that Viraha Bhav. He saw one small sand dune in front of Tota Gopinath. He said, no, that is Govardhan. He started dancing and, Govardhan. And then I think he saw the, this thing, the sea at Jagannath Puri. He said that is Yamuna. So that way, Lord Chaitanya, who was in separation, who had seen Krishna, and then he continued seeing Krishna everywhere. So I think seeing Krishna everywhere comes before and after, and it is even more intense after, because now you have seen Krishna, and then now Krishna is not there. So the seeing Krishna everywhere becomes all the more intense. So yeah.
I just want to add a couple of things here. So thank you, Jitendra Prabhu. That was wonderful. So even from the Bhagavatam, we see many instances where devotees actually met Krishna, saw Krishna first, and then their intensity increased more. Narad Muni is an example. Dhruva Maharaj is an example. And even Ajamil, for example, he saw the Vishnu Dutas. And then, of course, he didn't see Vishnu. He saw the Vishnu Dutas, and then his intensity increased in his second life. And also, I think this particular reference that Karan Prabhu made, it need not mean actual Krishna. It could mean even darshan of Krishna, like how to take darshan from the lotus feet. And if you actually meditate on that form, then you'll always be conscious of Krishna. That could be another way of looking at it. So just wanted to add these points. I hope it helps, Satana Mataji, but thank you for bringing this up.
So much, both you and Jit Prabhu. Thank you.
Krishnan Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this was a wonderful class. I really enjoyed it a lot, and I'm so amazed at it was a beautiful class. You had woven it nicely together. The story was very nice, and then you kept it interactive. And also the the second verse was very, very touching, because Queen Kunti is actually praying on our behalf. She's hoping that Krishna, she's not hoping, she knows that Krishna has come to help us all out, to take us back to back to Godhead. So it was a very, very touching verse, Prabhu. So thank you very much for this.
Thank you, Krishna.
Lekha Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is a really wonderful class, and again a great reminder in the middle of the week to really, rejuvenate and reestablish a relationship with Krishna. Like I had a quick question. So Prabhu, you're talking about dreams and Krishna coming in your dreams. I was just wondering if you can elucidate a little bit more on what do dreams mean in terms of in Shastras, because sometimes dreams are also like due to the concoction of our mind, and then sometimes if Krishna appears in our dreams, what does it mean? Should we take it seriously? Should we just let it go, or is it signaling something about our spiritual progress? I was just curious if you could tell a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I can share a couple of thoughts, and anyone else can also add. So definitely, I mean, like if Krishna is appearing in your dream, as you said, it could be because of some whatever is going on in life. But at some level, like we are, that means like more conscious of Krishna, and what to derive out of it, like the actual meaning, like what does it mean? Is it some sound? Is it some voice in my head that's that I'm seeing in my dream, or what is it exactly? It, as a practicing devotee, I feel it's always nice if we can uh, double check that with somebody senior, like some of our mentors, that something like this is happening, what should I do? So because I feel at least at my stage, it can be very difficult to make a difference between that two voices, voice of the mind and the Paramatma which is speaking. So it is always nice, and Krishna, like he gives direction in two ways, from within and without, as the spiritual master. And for us who do not have access to direct touch with spiritual master, he has made available very nice facility of counselors, of mentors whom we can reach, who are representative of our spiritual master. So I feel we should do that. And definitely, like, it has, I feel, some significance if something of this sort is happening. But I feel it should always be like double checked with some senior counselor before we act on that or derive some meaning out of that experience that we have.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Karan Prabhu. It makes sense. Thank you very much.
Anybody want to add? Jit Prabhu, Gaurav Prabhu?
So I just posted a link of Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's answer to this question. So sometimes as devotees, we see Krishna talking to us and things like that. So he's given a very comprehensive answer. I strongly recommend and encourage all of you to listen to this. It's just 7 minutes. Maybe we can listen to it after this class. Yeah.
Is it that same answer where Prabhuji says it's not I mean, more important than the source of the dream, it's important where it takes you.
Yes.
So once I had asked Prabhuji, we get these insights sometimes. They're like seemingly spiritual insights. Do they mean anything? Or he had told me that it doesn't matter. We don't have to think much as to where it is coming from, but more important is where it is taking us. If by that, in this context, if we say that due to that, okay, Krishna came in my dreams, now I can become slack in my bhakti. Nice, Krishna is coming in my dreams. I have attained some sort of perfection. All good. Now I'll become slack in my bhakti, and then that way I'll go away from bhakti. So if that happens, then no, that is surely you can consider it it's a imaginary thing of my mind, because that thing is not taking me closer to Krishna. So rather than whether it is authentic or not, I guess what Prabhuji was saying is more important is where it takes us. If it takes us closer to Krishna, then it is genuine.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I just wanted to add one more point here. So there are two tracks that we have to always remember. One is the track of Guru, and one is the track of Krishna. So if someone just ignores Krishna and just focuses on Guru, then you become a Mayavadi. If you think about it, if many Mayavadis that I know also, they don't think that God exists. They just focus on the Guru, and then they ignore Krishna. And on the other hand, if you just focus on Krishna is coming in my dreams, Krishna is talking to me, Krishna is this, Krishna, and forget the Guru, then you become what is called Sahajiyas. So both are dangerous. So it is recommended that both this Guru and Krishna go parallelly. So I liked what Karan Prabhu said also, that you must take guidance from senior devotees when you have such things, because the senior devotees like Shiksha Gurus, Diksha Gurus can actually help you understand that dream better. So don't ignore that and just think that, okay, Krishna is, and ignore the Guru factor. So both have to go parallelly. And I always like that suggestion that someone gave me many years ago, that they both are equally important. Thank you. Anyone else? Lekha Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu, I just wanted to thank you for that. That makes sense. And I think that distinction is very, very, very important, that, we don't get overdosed on, yeah, Krishna's coming in my dream, and, that makes sense. Thank you. Thank you very much, Prabhu. I'll listen to the video that you sent. Thank you. Thank you, Jitendra Prabhu.
Anyone else would like to say anything? I just have a few announcements of some important, very nice classes that are upcoming. If anybody else wants to say anything, Vinay Prabhu, would you like to say something?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, I was about to. Yeah, like I missed that video. I was driving, but Prabhu, I really like the class, the way you started, and all the discussion. Yeah, I'll catch up with video, and yeah, thank you for amazing class, Prabhu.
Thank you, Vinay Prabhu.
I can share the link to the video actually.
Yes, Prabhu, you can share it on the chat.
Yes.
And while you're doing that, I just wanted to announce a few things. So Chaitanya Charan Prabhu is starting a new series called How to Fail Well. How to Fail Well at the Bhakti Center. This particular series was received very well in GEV, and several like CEOs like Mafatlal Prabhu, Krishna Chandra Prabhu, and all attended this series. So he'll be doing it at the Bhakti Center. I'll post the link here. It's suggested donation only, so you don't have to pay. It's $45 for 4 sessions. Please bear with me 1 second. Yeah, I found it. So if you're interested, you could enroll. It's four Tuesdays, actually, 4 Tuesdays, starting from October 19th. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, I don't know how many of you attended the Bhagavatam class this morning by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. I know Athena Mataji was there. It was wonderful. And tomorrow also Chaitanya Charan Prabhu will be speaking, giving the Bhagavatam class at 7 a.m. 7:15 a.m. I'll post the link on the WhatsApp group. So if you can attend, please do. The next few speakers are also amazing. Anirudh Prabhu will be speaking next Wednesday, followed by Vinay Prabhu, followed by Vrinda Mataji, and we'll end the series with Sindhu Kanya Mataji on October 27th. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you all so much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Praise Karan Prabhu ki jai. Thank you.
Jai.
Thank you so much. Hari Hari.